Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here, and today I'm bringing you a very, very special video. It's actually probably the most interesting theory video that I'm going to be able to put out. Mainly, you guys are going to get a laugh out of this one. It's not really 100% my theory, actually. It's something that I've read on Wizard101 Central. I'll post a link in the description so you guys can see. There's actually information there that I don't even fully cover. And it started off with speculations about what the next world would be back when Polaris just came out. So this is actually a few months ago. I didn't find anything as interesting that was more recent, but the first place that it took me was to the Arcanum, and it took me to the portraits in Empyrea. I don't know how else to say her name. I don't know. It took me to the photos, the pictures on her wall. And everyone theorized that this was Empyrea. Now, there are a lot of reasons for this, so, stay tuned for this theory. And I'm going to add my own little part to it that I haven't read anywhere because I think it's actually extremely, extremely possible. This looks like a chunk of land, but it also looks like there are floating islands everywhere around it. If you guys are wondering what it is, it looks like it's the same place in multiple photos. It looks like there's like a hurricane with lightning coming out of it. This looks to me like it's more like Mirage. That it seems like that one place in Mirage that you start off with. However, if you look at it, the bottom part could be clouds and not sand. I know, it's like, what? But that's what someone said on Wizard101 Central, and it seemed cool. I don't know. I think that's Mirage, though. And this seems to be something that we really haven't seen yet, but it looks like some kind of sky anchor, just like the one we saw in Polaris, except instead of green, it's purple. So again, it seems like it might be something storm-themed, something hurricane-themed, something lightning-themed. And the reason I say this is because we're in the Storm Professor's Arcanum place, we're just floating off into space. We're in the Storm School, and this is basically where she is from. I'm going to try to do this with the other pictures that you find in the Arcanum. You would be so surprised. You'd be so surprised by how many secrets there are in this place. But the reason I think that this is storm based is because it's in the Storm School in the Arcanum. And there's thunder, there's lightning. And I'm about to put something up for you guys right now. This is just to give you a little history on Empyrea to actually further prove my point. But what we know so far, right? If this is Empyrea, we don't know. We just know this is some world. It has hurricanes, lightning, has some kind of sky anchor. Looks like, it has that purple lightning kind of thing, just like that green stuff that we saw in Polaris at the sky anchor there. We know that this is a world. Now, why do I think it's Empyrea? That's a good question. First, I'm pretty sure it's actually mentioned that Ion is from Empyrea. I do think so. I don't have solid hard proof of that, but we actually don't need that for this specifically because I'm about to put some dialogues that we've had in the past. So as far as the history of Empyrea goes, we've seen it mentioned about 2 times. About 2 times. Now, the reason I say about 2 times is because we do know that there's something called the Empyrean Blade. It's a recipe sold in Mushu. I'm not really going to cover that. I feel like, that was put in the game way before they even planned out Empyrea. Empyrea doesn't actually necessarily have to mean Empyrea as in the world. It could also mean of an emperor, resembling an emperor. And when you're talking about some Empyrean sword or something, I think that's the name of the recipe that Toshio and Mushu sells. It could be just like a majestic sword. That doesn't really have any connection, in my opinion, to Empyrea. What does have connections is the dialogues where they have mentioned it specifically. Now, the first one that I'm about to show you is Cyrus Drake's. Now, if you guys are wondering why you've never seen this dialogue, it's probably because you don't have a Myth Wizard. Now, Myth is the least common school anyone ever makes in this game. I was extremely surprised when I first actually was exposed to this. It's basically when you do the Basilisk quest, just like every other quest, you have to summon a Basilisk, right? So, or your spells. Normally you have to go somewhere. So, for some spells you go to Unicorn Way, some spells you go to Colossus Boulevard, some of them you go to Winter Tusk, all of those, right? For this one specifically, Cyrus Drake wanted you to summon the Basilisk for the first time in Empyrea. So he said the skies of Empyrea. Now that's very important because when you're describing a world, you can call it the city of Marleybone, the land of Mushu, the ancient land of Mushu, something like that. There are a lot of ways to describe it. I've never seen skies, So it seems really cool. I feel like this could be a place where the clouds are some kind of floor, that's what it kind of might seem like. Although there seem to be floating islands in this picture. That's why I still think this I mean, it definitely looks so much like Mirage, but if that sand is just clouds that you walk on, that would be cool, you know, then it would make sense, you know, the land of Mushu, you walk on land, the skies of Empyrea, you walk in the sky, that would be really, really cool. So that's one first thing that shows me this is Empyrea. But another thing that's super, super big is something, again, it's a side quest, so people might not even realize that this existed in the game. It happened in Wisteria, and for a side quest, you have to get a shipment of ink, and basically the Wisteria shop owner says you're lucky because some sky squid ink was imported from Empyrea on that same day. Now, the reason the whole sky squid thing is actually very interesting is because the sky squid has always been related to Storm. Now, I'm gonna actually go to this place to actually prove my point, but there are multiple reasons why I actually have to say this, and to do that we have to go into the world of Celestia. Finally made it back to Storm Riven, and the reason I actually came here is it's really cool, right? Storm Riven, right? You hear the name Storm in it, and more importantly, when you're looking at this Kraken statue right here, you see squids all around this place. Now, one really cool thing that I don't think a lot of people really know about. Where is it? It's somewhere over here, bro. I think it's over there. It just hasn't opened its eyes. There's like a monster in this. There it is. Hi. You want to just close your eyes next time while I'm talking about you? That, I think, is actually a squid. It's just a big squid that lives for some reason in Storm Riven. But I think that when you're looking at the Kraken, if you see the symbols that I'm on right now, that's what I'm looking at. There are squids all around this. So Storm and squid, they're very, very related. So for that reason, you know, when you put a lot of pieces together, when you're looking at the skies of Empyrea, that little avalanche thing, that hurricane, not avalanche, it's a hurricane or a tornado with lightning that's coming, and it's the portraits are in the Storm School in the Arcanum, it's safe to say that this is going to be a storm-themed world. It really is. That's something that I don't think is really easy to dispute. I definitely think that when you're really wondering what Empyrea could be, Storm is the biggest thing that comes to mind. Now, the part that I'm about to share, which I actually think adds a lot to it, is the fact that I think the plot of Empyrea is going to be involving the Storm Titan. Now, the reason I say that is because ever since Dragonspire and Wintertusk came out, like they came out basically, you know, back to back, we've always needed to see who the Storm Titan is. Now, we've seen the Fire Titan. That's what Malister summoned in order to bring back Sylvia in Dragonspire. And we've seen the Ice Titan. That's what the Coven tried to summon to bring on the Everwinter and Wintertusk. Both amazing storylines, in my opinion. However, we have never ever seen the Storm Titan. And I think Empyrea would be the perfect place. Now, that storm kind of looks like something a Storm Titan would actually brew up. When the dragon, the Titan, was actually unleashed on Dragonspire, what ended up happening was a beautiful green place, as you saw when you traveled back in time, Dragonspire turned into this lava-filled place. So we are aware that when the Titans are released, they change the world around them. So this seems like a very possible thing. Like, again, to give another example, if the Ice Titan had been released, he would have basically frozen over Wintertusk. So I think this is just a big, big storm that is going to be summoned. I think this is concept art. I think this is an Easter egg. I don't think this is a current state at Empyrea. I think they just put this in the Storm School to actually, you know, drive up some kind of wonder on it. I don't think this is happening yet. I think this is the future of the plot. And I think the plot is going to be around the Bat, which is a third child of Old Cobb. The Bat is going to summon the Storm Titan to do something. I have no idea what it could be for. But maybe it's to, you know, it's to do whatever Old Cobb wants Grandmother Raven to do, how he wants to get revenge. Maybe it's just a way to spew chaos. It might not even have a real plot to it. It's just to introduce more chaos. But it would be really, really interesting if Old Cobb and the Storm Titan teamed up against Raven. And, you know, like, we've already put the Ice Titan to sleep, and the Dragon Titan, you know, we know what happened last time. No one can control that thing. So it's really interesting. You know, it's really interesting what could happen. What I do know is that it's going to be a storm-themed world. It's going to have squids and krakens and people that look like her. Just a lot of storm-themed things. They're probably, like, based on how she looks, it's probably going to be like a warrior race, very serious people, very intelligent people, much like Celestia. I predict a lot of similarities, actually, between Celestia and Empyrea, because, you know, the storm, you know, like, it's underwater, but it's also, you know, storm, we don't know. It can be underwater, but it can also be in the skies. It's never really made clear what storm really is. Since we have spells like Tempest, we have spells like Stormlord. But yeah, guys, that's a theory. Little history on Empyrea, why we think that it actually might be the next world, but also my own speculation on how the Storm Titan, I think, is going to play a role. We know that all the Titans are locked up somewhere. We know that. The Dragon Titan was in Dragonspire, the Ice Titan is still in Wintertusk, sleeping in Nastrond or something. We don't know where the Storm Titan is. This would be a really cool way to actually, you know, close that loop. And this has been hinted at since Basilisk was a spell. So that's all the way back when Zafaria was the last world. So this is something that we've been seeing and wanting to come for a while, and I think finally they have a chance. It's chaotic, it makes sense. When we're talking about Empyrea being the next world, if it is the next world, we have a speculation of the plot. There's a lot of things that could happen here. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. You know, tell me what you guys think. Tell me if I missed anything. Make sure to check that Wizard101 Central thing. That's really where I got the majority of the ideas. I literally looked up Empyrea, you know, and that's the first thing that showed up, because I wanted to see, you know, like, that's a cool world that I've always wondered about it, and it led me to this conclusion. And definitely this picture is the most promising of all, the thing with the storm anchor, sort of, you know, really seems interesting to me. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If someone hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong, so stay awesome, bros. Yeah.